Today we are talking about how to change a pop-up bathroom sink drain assembly, specifically a click to install type. So sort of the most common standard pop-up drain assembly comes with a pivot ball, the nut, set screw, and the metal clip. Although some folks may find these hard to adjust just right. Another option for you, if you don't like the linkage assembly, is a push button style pop-up drain assembly, where you push to seal the drain and then push a second time to open the drain. This style also works well if the particular sink or countertop or bathroom faucet you are using won't allow for a linkage or would look undesirable with linkage. This would be a great option for you. Some factors to consider. Does your sink have an overflow hole? Is your tailpiece 1.5 inch diameter or 1.25 inch diameter? Is your P-trap 1.5 inch diameter or 1.25 inch diameter? Because you may need one of these adapter washers that you see here to adapt from that 1.25 inch skinny tailpiece to the larger 1.5 inch diameter P-trap. Do you want all plastic or metal construction? And again, do you prefer the linkage or push button style? Here's the tools and supplies needed. A bowl to catch the dirty water that might spill out of the P-trap. Of course, your new pop-up drain assembly, some plumber's putty, a pair of channel locks, or one of these drain wrenches. And I added Teflon tape to this picture because if you're having trouble getting your new drain assembly to seal, you can add some Teflon tape to the threads on the tailpiece, and sometimes that solves that problem. So here's the old one that we're going to be removing today. Here's a quick look at the new one. Again, it's all plastic construction. Click to connect, rubber O-ring seal, push it in, it's connected. And you can see it comes with the rubber cone-shaped washer, the flange, the tailpiece. So I'll go ahead and unscrew the flange from the tailpiece and pull out the drain stopper there and remove that plastic protective coating. You can see this is designed for an overflow hole. I'll take a little bit of plumber's putty and then roll it out into like a worm or a snake. And then I'll apply this around the underside of that flange. And this plumber's putty is what's going to create your watertight seal between the sink and the bottom of that flange. You want to be a little bit generous with the plumber's putty because you want it to squish out when you go to tighten everything down. That's how you know you've put enough plumber's putty and you got a good watertight seal all the way around. So I'll place the tailpiece up into the bottom of the sink drain. I'll carefully screw on that flange. Make sure that your linkage assembly is pointing toward the back of the cabinet there. And you can see all the plumber's putty. And I already cleaned around the sink so there's no debris. So I'll hold the tailpiece while I tighten that plastic nut and that rubber cone washer up against the bottom of the sinkhole. Again, if this leaks on you, you can put some silicone sealant up there. You can put some Teflon tape around those male threads. With these plastic nuts and plastic tail pieces, you want to be careful not to over tighten these threads, because you can very easily snap the flange off of the tailpiece or crack the tailpiece, etc. So general rule of thumb is hand tight only, or maybe a quarter to half a turn max past hand tight. And my drain wrench here has a notch that will mate up with the little flanges or fingers on the side of that plastic nut. Do a little corner turn, and I'm watching the plumber's putty, squish out of the flange up top. I decided I need a little bit tighter, but that's as far as I'll go with it. So you can see all the excess plumber's putty has squished out like it's supposed to. And just wipe it off quick and easy.
Wow.
So we'll continue with the installation of this new pop-up drain assembly, making sure all of my slip joint nuts and washers are clean, nothing's cracked or smashed or damaged. You can buy replacements at your local home center. All these individual parts you can buy at Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace Hardware, etc. And all of these slip joint nuts are plastic, so again, these should only be hand tight. You don't ever want to over tighten these, because you can strip them, crack them, break them, etc. If you find they are leaking, inspect them to make sure they're not smashed or grooved or cracked. You may need to replace them if they do leak. As you like to start tightening at the top one, then go to the second one, then the third, and then the fourth. That one's tight. We'll tighten this one down. And again, this is an 1.5 inch P-trap assembly. So I had to use one of those adapter washers to go from 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches. Tighten the third one down. Double check that back one. And I'll just wipe everything clean, make sure everything's dry, so we can do our water check and test for leaks. Pretty self-explanatory. To check for leaks, you turn on the faucet, run water down the drain, then plug the drain, fill the sink up a little ways with water, then pull the drain stopper out and let all the water drain down. And you shouldn't see any leaks or water dripping anywhere underneath your sink. So I'll move the camera up top so you can get a closer look, so nothing's leaking.
Woo!
So we need to connect our linkage assembly now. And you can see it's just a click to connect or push to connect. Fitting there. And there's your connection. So quick and easy. Slide the vertical rod down through. I apologize, I'm trying to stay out of the camera shot. Oh, it's important here to make sure that the horizontal linkage I'm holding right now is perfectly centered. If it's not, when you go to try to line up the stopper with that linkage, the hole in that linkage won't line up. So make sure that linkage is perfectly centered, as you see here, like that. It's not off to one side or the other. And then continue the installation. And again, everything just clicks together. And then test it to make sure it works up and down properly. Everything looks good. Again, turn on the water, make sure it actually seals. It does. And it drains properly. I hope this information helped. Please like, share, subscribe, leave me a comment for future video topics you would like me to cover. Thanks for watching.